you're not going to be able to share any of this with your friends. I'm sorry. You can, it's free, but you're not. When was the last time you had a dream and you woke up the next morning and you turned to your lover or you went to the coffee shop and talked to your friend and you explained that like there were aliens and they were like, oh, and then like the thing, and then all of a sudden I was in the country and then there was this, oh my God, and then we were like, what? And he showed up, and right? And expected your friend to have been in the dream with you. When was the last time that happened? In another dream. And that's actually a good answer. So if this is your first time working with me, you can't possibly know what I mean until you start to share. It's not shareable because it's not cultural. What I'm teaching you doesn't live inside our cult. It's not better, it's just wider. It's inclusive, which is why it's wider. You can't share this information. Number two, what you'll notice, because we have two people joining us today, is that when I start to speak today, because it's going to be, remember the little trains that magnetically attract? They're going to attract to what you've already learned. You're going to understand it. I want you to, at lunch, talk to the two new people that just joined us, and they'll be like, what the is going on? Not in a negative way. They'll be interested, they'll be intrigued, but they won't know what you know. So be careful that you don't take for granted what you're hearing, because it's like rocket science. A rocket scientist that really gets it can make it easy for you to understand. A rocket scientist that doesn't really get it, you're like, what? So it's like butter, I'm feeding you impossible. And as you receive, possible is. But you're gonna go so excited. How many of you tried to share this with your friends last night? How many of your friends went like, what the are you talking about? How many of your friends went, oh, I get it, I've done that before. Oh yeah, look. So let me explain what she means. Right, so you want to cognize, not recognize. And you've been trained to recognize, to recognize. You've been trained to read, remember, and repeat. Yes? You were raised around here, in America, or the world, around here, 60s to now. You've been trained to read, remember, and repeat. And if you can repeat like everyone else, those people you can repeat like, you know, lawyers, you're a lawyer. Doctors, you're a doctor. Housewife, you're a housewife. Asshole, you're an asshole. You know, whatever you read, remember, and repeat, that's remember. I want you to recognize. I want you to cognize. To recognize is to recognize what you know and repeat it. To cognize is to bring through that with which is available. Very dangerous to a mind because it can't quantify that it's safe. To remember and repeat means I've been told that, I know that works because I was graded on it, and now I repeat it so I know you'll like me and get what I need. It's all based in manipulation and suffering. Woo! I'm a suffering fool and I got an A for it. That's why I drink and hate my husband. Woo! Do you understand? Like, that's the world we live in, and we're proud of it, to be an American. No one meant to do that, right? We talked about that yesterday. If you're a human being, I'm proud of you. You know, there's no good or bad. If I said, are you doing the best you can, everyone in here would raise their hand, yes? Right, Tony? Everybody in here would raise their hand. The shame is that these are the only tools you have to work with. If you had better tools, you'd have a better life. Anybody in here want their life to be better than it is right now? Okay, better tools, better life. I mean, I'm not telling you there's anything wrong with you, and I'm not telling you that you should be different. I'm telling you that there are some very basic, simple tools that allow you to have everything you've ever wanted. And we're halfway through that course. I'm not selling you anything, you've already paid. Isn't that cool? Usually people say that when they're selling you something. And I've made a lot of movies, and I've worked with a lot of directors and a lot of producers and a lot of actors. And this doesn't occur to them because it's outside of our culture. This is not like, by the way, you're meeting Einstein, so please bow as you. This is, like I said, this isn't New Age, this is Old Age. This is not spectacular information. This is obvious information. By the end of 2 days, 12 hours, you have 6 life-altering tools. Now, you must practice them. This is kind of like riding a bike, right? I'm going to give you, there are 8 tools. We're only working on 6 on this trip. I'm going to give you 6 tools. It's like the handlebars, the brakes, the seat, the wheels, the spokes, and the
Chain.
Yeah, chain. And I'm showing you how to assemble it all. We're just not going to paint it or, put on the bell yet. If you take this bike that you now can balance and ride, which yesterday you saw, you could see what I meant, right? So you begin to balance. If you take this bike and you put it into your garage and you lock the door, because it's this bike you don't want anyone to steal, and you lock the door and you turn the lights off first, and then you lock the door, and then you leave and you never go back to get it, you will lose it, because it's not an intellectual concept to be saved. You must ride the bike. You must go to movies, and you must go, what are the stakes, obstacle, through line? Where's the subtext? What's the substitution that could be used? It's bringing up that visceral response. The who am I? Yeah, that one. Do you understand? You must practice it, and each time you become aware of it, it becomes more aware of you. It's not homework like, I gotta do 10 hours of writing this. It's actually life work, which means you're watching a movie going, this sucks anyway. You might as well ask yourself, why does it suck? Did she have stakes? No. Did she have an obstacle? Yeah, that she didn't want to be there, but not the character. You're saying if you have opinions of your character, you're acting. Do you know you don't have opinions of yourself? You have obstacles. Don't mistake those as opinions. You have obstacles, they don't like me. But you don't have opinions, I'm not likable. Unless that's an obstacle. You don't know what other people think of you. You know what you surmise other people think of you, which is an obstacle. This is basic human behavior. If you have an opinion of your character, you are play acting. I'm going to tell you one simple sentence that's going to change your life. That's a large statement. The moment you take your opinion of your character, you put it in front of you, and you get the other person to see it isn't true, you come to life. It's impossible to be fake acting. There's no such thing as a mock in our universe. The moment you fall in, you're in. The moment you take an action against, it transcends itself present. I say my character's a bitch. I'm acting like a bitch. I'm a bitch. I say, I think you think I'm a bitch, and I'm going to get you to see that I'm not. I put it in front of me, and I get you to see that I'm not that thing. I am not a bitch. God! I didn't mean it! Do you see how it begins to develop itself through you instead of from you? Can you see that? Yeah. All of this is like a great first date, or a vacation. Like you spend a lot of money on your vacation, you plan your vacation, you take time off from work, you lose money because you took time off, but you don't know for sure that it's going to go well. You put your whole self in the hokey pokey, but you're not so sure you're going to turn yourself about. You have to go to sea, which is what an adventure is, right? If you look in the dictionary under adventure, it's a risky experience. How many of you get started to have a risky experience and go, no, that's too risky? I'm bored and broke. Takes money to make money, takes life to make life, got to grow up to grow up. This is not something, I would guarantee you, I would tell you for sure, 0, you are never going to acquire being. For sure, I can actually guarantee you're never going to acquire being. There are no avatars in the room amongst us today. And I could be wrong, right? What do I know? I'm just a guide. I just have a little arrow and I'm like, follow that. That's it. I'm a human being. Sometimes I have trouble pooping, I'm a human being. You can't acquire being. You can't own being. You can't buy being. I don't care if you're the wealthiest person in the world. I don't care if you're the richest person in the world. I don't care if you're the smartest person in the world. I don't care if you think you're Donald Trump. I don't care if you're the most famous person in the world. I don't care if you're the prettiest person in the world. Being requires total loss of self as identity. This is the path home. This is the journey here. And even home and here don't represent what I mean. I has no meaning. However, as actors and or human beings on this earth today, you have a right to live an enjoyable, I-N-J-O-Y-A-B-L-E, able to life, in action joy, right? Maze, amazing, amazing grace, right? Do you remember yesterday? Don't have time to do it again. We got to do some other things today. But you have a right to it. This is sort of like first year med. 1,000 of you will run at it. 200 of you will hit it like spaghetti on the wall. And 18 will stick. Everybody wants their life. Very few people actually really want their life. Most people just want to get out of their suffering, which means denial, ignorance, and blame. Culturally. That cult you don't want to join? The cult of suffer of one. Very lonely. Step in, please. At least you'll be like everyone else. Know thyself. Hate it, but know it. What you're seeing is a mistake culturally that's loud enough and large enough to capture our attention, but if you can't identify it, how can you transcend it? Now, you don't have to understand it, but you have to identify it. And then you have to be willing to risk playing through. And most of you are, I can't afford it, I don't have the time. Wow, I took Candace's class and my life completely changed, but it's been 3 months, and now I think it was just, I don't know, I think I made it up. Because your mind isn't going to remember any of this, your being will. But the more you think, the more dirt you put on your being, the less you can see your being, the more this never happened. Good news is, once we infect you, you're infected forever. Forever. Body after body after body. This has nothing to do with body type memory. This is cellular memory. Your cells will multiply and divide and go on to wherever they magnetically attract, which is called memory in its cell nation. Wisdom, awareness, nature, knows itself. Culture, fleeting. I also want to train you culturally to have the eye of stakes, obstacle, and through line so that you can begin to join the force of the opportunity of those which, like Puck in A Midsummer Night's Dream, are pulling the curtain back for those to see what's coming. Alluring, isn't it? Terrifying to play in, worth it. A risky experience, adventure. So the fact that you saw that you couldn't see meant you're beginning to see that there's something there. Therefore, forward movement. This is sort of holographics. Things start to pop. Nothing changes. You're still living here. Your name stays the same. But you start to see that with which before you never. It's like a wall of dough. Whoosh. And Waldo starts to pop. Never thought to think that. Oh my God, where'd you come from? Synchronicity everywhere. And you're following a gaze of grace instead of the smallness of your individual intellectual mind trying to save itself from its own hurt that happened out of space and time that you can't proverbially remember that owns you because you're a habit. And you're not different, everyone is, whether you like it or not. You may say, not me, or how dare you tell me about myself. I'm not going to tell you about you. You're going to start to see it pop for you. Only low self-esteem would cover with high self-esteem. Only inferiority would cover with power. Power invites you in. It doesn't need anything. That's why it's powerful. It already is what it's powerful. Power becomes meek. I get the game. I get the way it is. What can I do for you? Powerless pretends, leaves you waiting for 3 hours in the waiting room just so you know who they are, so you won't, stick it to them. Because, do you understand? Everything is the resistance of, right? We speak for one reason or we don't speak at all. We speak to 2 reasons. We speak to reveal or we speak to conceal or we don't speak. You ever dated someone you were like, oh my God, he or she is it, and by the 3rd date you're like, ew, what did I see in them? Yes or no? Yes. That person never changed. How you saw them changed. That's substitution. Close your eyes. I'll make sure no one steals anything from you. It's safe for 10 seconds. It's only 10 seconds. Have a little faith. Close your eyes. Say, I love you to your mother. Now, say, I love you to the love of your life. Whether that's your child or your husband or your wife or someone you haven't met yet. Say, I love you to the love of your life. Now say, I love you to the man who's raping you in order to get him not to harm you anymore. Now say, I love you to the man who's just saved your child or your animal from falling off a cliff. Now say, I love you to the cop who's pulled you over to give you a ticket that you did not deserve. Now open your eyes. No one stole anything from you, I made sure. Except me, and I didn't take much. Okay, the word, I love you. The words, I love you, 3 words, yes? Did they feel similar at all speaking to these different people?
No.
Same words, yes?
Yeah.
Same words. 3 little words. How often do you say it all day long? You have no idea the meaning, you just say it and wrote. I love you, bye, I love you, bye, I love you, bye, I love you. I'd say never say it again until you mean it again. You said I love you to all these different people, 3 words, and they weren't similar. Some of them might, like, I love you to my lover and I love you to my mother. If you loved your mother, it might be a little similar, but one's sexually driven and one's pure heart driven. But they're 3 words. How often as an actor do you read I love you and you say it the way you think I love you means without any awareness of who you're speaking to or why you're saying it? How often do you say, f you to someone? You read it in a script, f you, f you, f you, f you, because that's what it means to you. But what if you're saying f you to the love of your life to get him to not leave you? F you. What if you're saying it to a cop who's giving you a ticket? What if you have to say it to your mother because God wrote it, the writer wrote it, and she's the love of your life? F you. Do you understand? Like, they're not similar. The word is the same, but the meaning given who you're speaking to alters the entire language you know to be true as now not true. It's a thought you have about a thing that makes you dualistic, keeps you from I am. Duality causes suffering, at best. Dis-ease. Duality, dis-ease, sounds different, same. As long as you have an opinion, you're screwed. That the backdrop of the foreground creates, when you see a little boy sitting on the floor playing with dolls, oh, let's make it a girl. You see a little girl on the floor playing with dolls, it's a picture. Like, oh my God, that's the cutest thing, right? Then the camera pulls back, and she's in the middle of a war. Oh my God. Then the camera pulls back, and it's happening on TV. Oh. Then the camera pulls back, and the TV is in someone's living room, and a little girl is sitting alone on the couch watching it. Do you understand? It's the backdrop of the foreground that makes you think what you think, but no one's ever told you that you're not real. So you actually believe real is true, and therefore as an actor it can't make your way because you act what you think. You don't have any identification to the substitution of that with which you're speaking to and about creates and causes what you think you're hearing. Therefore wreaking havoc and playing with your mind. Your mind is this toolbox that uses you because no one made you aware that it's your useful toolbox. It's your computer chip, your ME, mechanical equipment. No one's taught you how to enter it so that you could use it to cause the life you want. Your ego, your idea of yourself, which is also who you are, right? With ego's good news and bad news. Without an ego, you're not here. With an ego, you're. So enjoy getting. Start making love to it. Your ego tells you, and it's preverbal, it becomes itself. It tells you who you are minus who you are. So the substitution, the distinction of the causation of that creation is high stakes obstacle, that you find the visceral cause, that visceral response that brings you to the nature of what the writer intended, never what the writer wrote. You want to read those 3 pages of the sides, put them down, don't read them again. It has nothing to do with that. Remembering that it says I love you, you know it says I love you in the script. Put it down. We read it yesterday, yes? Put it down. Come over here, sit on the Alps or your little box, whatever your life is. I'm wondering, this is me wondering. I'm Reese. Chelsea's the most important person in my life. I can't live without her. Gotta remember the sides. What am I doing? No, you don't have to remember the sides. You already read it. You read it. You read the sides. You don't have to remember the sides. My actors never have to memorize, ever. If you know what you mean, you say what you mean. If you don't know what you mean, it's like lying. You always forget what you said. Did I say I was pregnant or I wasn't pregnant? But you know why you lied. You will never forget that because the stakes are high. When you're in stakes, obstacle, and through line, you never need to remember your lines because you know you're speaking to get what you need, to reveal or to conceal. So you never have to remember your lines, ever. You know who you're speaking to, what you're speaking about, what you need from them, and why they won't give it to you. You do not need to remember your lines. You got to speak in order to save your life and get something. You are not going to need to remember your lines. You're going to say it to get them to give you what you need. But what you don't know is why you need it. So come over here, your little Alps box. Chelsea's the love of my life. No, she's not. She already loves me. So she's the most important. She already have love from her. Can't be about love, right? If I've already got my belly full of chocolate, I don't want chocolate. So that means it's about power, because no one died in the scene, so it can't be a death scene. So it's power. Okay, so I need her to give me something. Let's see, the scene said I need her to help me choose which guy. Okay, so I need her to help me choose which guy. Well, what's the obstacle? Well, she can't. I mean, what's the greatest stake obstacle possible? That she doesn't like one of the guys, that she thinks I'm dating too often, I don't take him seriously. Who is it that I feel like I have to prove to, but is the only person I know to go to get them to tell me what I should do? Because truly, oh wait, the guys, who are the guys? Because on paper they're guys, but I don't care about guys. Who are the 2 men if I had to choose between? I wouldn't know. So I would say, okay, well, because I have a lover, Gary, who's sitting in the room, obviously it would be Gary, but there's no one else I would choose. Gary and who? There isn't anyone. Oh my God, what if it were one of my sons? What if I had to choose between Gary and one of my sons? I couldn't do that. I mean, there's no way I would lose the love of my life, and there's no way I would lose my son. And what if I had to go to one of my sisters who would be like, you would choose a man over your child? There is no way on earth I would be able to ask my sister that. And I have 4 of them, and I can't figure one of them I would go to. I would have a panic attack walking into the room. Do you see how little acting would be needed? Do you see that my homework has nothing to do with looking at the script? It has to do with, now look, I've been doing this for 25 years, 7 days a week with thousands and thousands of people. It's fluid for me. Do not sit there in day 2, the beginning of day 2, and go, this is too tough. Because if someone that went to the Olympics last month, 8 years ago, sat down and went, there's no way I could make it. There wouldn't be. You have to see yourself crossing that line every day, not knowing if you're the best there is walking the face of the earth, or there's someone better, which has nothing to do with whether you're good or bad. It has to do with what God created and what coaches are out there and what funds you have to get what help you have. Do you understand that that soup is so much bigger than you know when you turn your TV on? It's a vision you cannot not. You know that thing in school you got an F for, saying I cannot not, a double negative? Do you remember if you put a double negative you got an F? Mm-hmm. I consistently failed school because I speak in double negatives. Transcendence happens when you cannot and you cannot not. They meet each other and they explode and a new paradigm arises. The very thing your teachers told you you couldn't go near is what you're desperate to find. When the stakes are too high to get over and the obstacles are too wide to get around, And the action, the need, the overall through line is so great that you cannot not get started. You're halfway up the Alps. You don't have enough food to make it for sure, or oxygen. And you definitely don't have enough time to go back. How many people just sit down and wait to die? None. My sister's the most important person in my life. I can't live without her. Without her telling me whether I should leave my lover or my child, I don't know what to do. I'm not leaving my child. It's not an option. I'm not leaving my lover. It's not an option. Who in the hell is going to understand that? I don't have 25 people to sit in a class and listen to me speak for 3 hours to talk them into my side. That's like standing in front of a judge and going, can I just give you my side first? Life is fired at us point blank. Good luck. The bigger the adventure, the bigger the risk, right? You want the Alps or you want the Alps? But it's so hard to tread easy at this point because you've got no tools left to tread. You actually call easy hard. You fell into the hole and then the hole fell into you. Step out. It has nothing to do with your mind. Take an action. Your mind will follow. You are now the guide of your mechanical box. She's the most important person in my life. I can't live without her. Stakes. It's the only sentence I know of. I'm sure there are other ones. It's the only sentence I know of, mathematically, scientifically, and chemically, that will ontologically drop you present. You are the most important person in my life, and I cannot live without you. Without you, I don't have what? Because if I say, I need her, that's an actor at home hoping for a job. You will not transcend present. He or she is the most important person in my life, and I cannot live without them. Without them, I don't have what? I am now face front to the gun. I guarantee you, you will not remember to do this if you don't write it down and you don't remember it and you don't discipline yourself to play this game. Because it's an ontological, mathematical equation of causation. It is not an interesting choice. She's the most important person in my life, and I cannot live without her. Without her telling me what to do, I have a time clock obstacle. I have to go and make a call and tell my son he's no longer in my life, or my man, he's no longer in my life. And I can't choose. You think I'm having a little bit of a panic attack? You think I have to act? Oh, I'm not just having a panic attack. Stakes, most important person in my life. Obstacle, I can't choose. Obstacle between the two of us. I feel like she has, what's the word? Judge. She judges me. She judges me. So she's going to tell me, my child, and I'm going to lose my man. I can't do it without her help, and I can't do it with her help. Woo! We're starting to transcend. I'm getting to a place beyond my own self. I cannot see what's coming. I know she can't help me, and I have no one else. I have to go to her. How many of you is this starting to sound like your life? She's the most important person in my life. Stakes. Can't live without her. Obstacle. She judges me. Overall through line. I have to get her to give me the right answer, knowing there isn't one. Little bit of panic happening? Yeah. Now what do I have to do? Get her to believe that I'm fine about it and it's not a big deal. What happens when you walk in front of someone and you go, oh my God, I'm dying! You just gave all your power away. They can tell you anything they want. The stakes are too high. I don't have time to do drama. Hi, sweetheart. You look so pretty. Oh, your house is clean and it's filthy. Oh my God. Listen, I'm having a little bit of a panic attack. I'm fine. Tell me what, there are these two. Do you see how you see someone in the middle of a piece of business instead of acting? It has nothing to do with the 3 pages. You put those pages down. You looked at what the stakes, obstacle, and through line were. This is the creation of causation. This is bringing you and the character to one. O-N-E-W-O-N. When there is no thought of mind. The thoughts I'm thinking are now the character's thoughts. I wear her, she wears me. Well, what will my son say? What will my boyfriend say? What will I don't know. But what you do is go, she has a boyfriend. There are 2 men. Are you starting to see what I mean? Yeah. Can you see the pathology? I'm thinking, what am I going to do that I can't say? I can't tell her because she judges me. I can't say, I think you're judging me. Will that piss her off? Yeah. That becomes subtext. Anything you can't say. It's like girls, boys, girls, put the feelings in the tummy and lock them up. Don't let them come back up. Well, that's why we can't. Food's got to get through that locked portion. Get stuck at the locked portion. You put food in your tummy and you feel really fat. Yes, girls? Little bit of food in your tummy, you feel. Boys too, but you know, don't want to piss off masculines. You just have to. Right? Put the smallest amount of food in your tummy and you're like, I'm the size of Montana, because the feelings can't handle any aggravation. Subtext, it's putting it down in the basement and shutting the door. Don't let anyone down there. Do you understand stakes, obstacle, and through line creates subtext? If I know I need you, I know who you are, the substitution of who you are, the visceral connect. When I think of that person that, what's the word? That judges me. If I think of that person who judges me, how many of you know someone that judges you? Okay, you don't have to go far. If I think of that person that judges me over there and I have to ask them whether I should get rid of my boyfriend or my son, am I going to be too afraid to ask before I begin? Yes. Is it going to bring up all the thinking I want to say, like, what, stop judging me, or I really need you not to judge me right now, or I need your help because there's nowhere else to go? Did the writer write any of those sentences? No. So I can't say any of those, can I? But they're all going to come up with the substitution of the visceral response of the person I just set in is my who am I for her. Yes? Yeah. So all that pathology that can't be spoken, guess what happens to it? It starts to exude itself. I start to twitch or sweat. I start to smile to cover how frustrated I am. I start to leave while I'm walking in because I already know I can't accomplish what I came for. Do you see the human behavior that begins to happen that has nothing to do with the director's direction? Stakes, obstacle, through line bring up subtext, the pathology that can't be spoken. Don't you love how in America we say it's pathological? What the fuck is pathological, since all thinking is all thinking? What we mean is outside of the greater norm that we've agreed to agree upon. But you think pathological actually means crazy people. What if there were more crazy people than sane people? It's coming. We have more people in jail than out of jail right now. I'm really sorry. What if pathological became logical, and logical then became pathological? What would happen to you? You would gladly take your life. And it happens all the time to people, because they can't get anyone else to agree upon the agreements that they know as their mundane, centered self as true. They feel alone and lost and crazy. Do you know why you go to parties where everybody likes you? Because if you went to parties where everybody didn't like you, you would feel insane and want to kill yourself. You have to stay around people that agree to your pathology in order for you to feel normal, which is why you never grow. Because you keep asking people who will agree with you what you should do, so they agree you should stay the same. Everybody wants everyone to grow. No one wants anyone to leave the reservation. Okay, this is like a year intensive. When I called it an intensive, I was kidding. It was really an intensive!